Hi traders, welcome to this Blueberry Markets video update with me, 𝖺riև𝗂διЛ, Senior Market Analyst. In this video, I'm going to take you through the week ahead. Going to dive into some data as well as some charts to watch. So lots of data coming up this week. We've got central bank speeches, we've got central bank announcements and non-farm payroll this week. So it's going to be a very, very busy week in terms of data. Market may switch to a bit of a risk off sentiment going into this week. However, it'd be interesting to see what comes of the higher sort of volumes, maybe even higher volatility. So Swiss franc CPI month on month expected to actually rise from 0.2% to 0.5%. Could give a little bit of strength to the Swiss franc in the early trading session on Monday. Going on to Tuesday, we've got the Bank of Japan Governor Ueda speaking. So market participants really going to be anticipating what the Bank of Japan Governor will be talking about. We've got the ISM Services PMI data out of the US. Forecast coming a little bit lower, so dollar data now starting to show up a little bit weaker at the moment. We have seen that dollar start to weaken slightly. ADP non-farm employment change expected to rise, but on Wednesday the big data will come with the Bank of Canada rate statement. Overnight rate expected to be held at 5%. We also have Fed Chairman Powell testifying, as well as JOLTS job openings in the US, followed by that Bank of Canada press conference. So Wednesday, a big day. Even bigger day on Thursday, we've got the ECB expected to hold interest rates at 4.5%. And we have unemployment claims from the US, as well as another testimony or testifying of Federal Chairman Powell. And then Friday, big non-farm payrolls expected to see a jump back lower down towards 190k. We obviously had a big shock with the January figures in February of 353k. I'll be interested to see if this number is revised going into the non-farm payroll at the end of the week. Going on to the currency strength meter, then I actually messed up last week, so I've reverted it back. I actually said that the Australian dollar was getting a lot stronger than it was, so apologies there. So I've reverted it back. This is the correct strength meter at the moment, and it's showing us that the dollar is still a stronger currency at the moment, although in that reversal zone. So I'm really keeping an eye on that, keeping an eye on euro dollar potentially as well, because euro gaining a little bit of momentum here going into this week, especially with the ECB announcement. Swiss franc on the opposite side of that is now in that reversal zone as well, and yen starting to peak a little bit of interest. CAD continuing to move to the downside. So I've picked out a few charts of interest. I'm going to start it off with US dollar index, actually, not New Zealand US dollar. But we can see here the market rejecting that 104.50, which we said was key resistance. Key support 103.50. We're ranging between that area at the moment. So I'm interested to see how the dollar plays out this week. Does it weaken off of the dollar data coming up? And if it does, do we see a breach of that 103.50 and a move down towards 102.75? Do we actually see a higher move this week into 104.50? I think if we start pushing up to 104.50 before any data drops this week, could be a little bit of a sort of positioning ahead of any weaker data, and it may act as an area of resistance. A break above that 106 could be targets, but I think at the moment we're pretty range bound on the US dollar index, so it's going to be a tricky week to try and pick out those key areas. I'll be looking at 103.50 and 104.50 as key areas of support and resistance going into this week. Moving on to New Zealand US dollar then. So we recently formed highs at 0.6200. We formed a very large rejection candle yesterday. We are trading above the 50 moving average, or on it actually on a weekly time frame perspective, but we've got this support here at 0.6050. I think it's going to be a tricky week for Kiwi dollar, to be honest. I like the fact that Kiwi is a little bit of a weaker currency at the moment, so we could expect a move down towards 0.6050 in the short term. But again, I think this is going to be very dollar dependent. What does the dollar do this week? If it does start to strengthen, then I will expect a bit of downside. If it does weaken, 0.6200 is the level to look out for. Going on to Euro US dollar then. So this is what I was talking about, Euro euro. 1.0875 at the moment is those kind of highs that formed recently, and we've rejected that area. We've also climbed above that 1.08 handle, so you could argue that there's been a higher high. Is this area going to be a higher low, and is price going to push that 1.0875? I think it'd be interesting to see if buyers can hold prices above 1.08 going into this trading week. And then finally, gold. Big explosion in gold prices last week. We breached that 2040 handle. We're now back into the $2,085 level. These highs that formed towards the end of 2023. Now, I'll go into more detail in gold this week, but US bond yields falling quite dramatically at the moment. Is that a sign that the dollar weakness is going to continue? Will that influence gold prices higher? If it does, then, is this high that formed back in 2023 of the $2,150, is that going to be a potential target for gold going forward? Who knows? So I like this area here of resistance. How does price react to it? Do we get a bearish rejection? Do we see price breach it and try and move forward? That's what we're going to look for going into this trading week. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching this video update. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. See you in the next video.